Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to episode 5 of Vagina Devil Magic, a podcast by me, Lisa Lee Curtis. And seriously, thanks for joining me today and every week so far. I'm glad you're happy with it, and if you're happy, fucking killer. I'm having a great time. So today's disclaimer, not really a disclaimer today, I just gotta tell you, I have pet vultures now. Not really pets, dogs are it for pets, but a family of 3 vultures just recently adopted me, and I am stoked. I've named them Bernadette, Madeline, and Bet. It just came to me. I don't know why, but yes, they're named after Bernadette Peters and Madeline Kahn and Bette Midler. Why? Again, I don't know. They just are. And I'm happy because I'm kind of like the whole elder goth type, and I loved my crows and my ravens and all that, but where my home is now, I get none of that. Not even the stupid fucking grackles that you see everywhere down here once you get into town anyway. I think my elevation is too high where I'm at because you almost never see them. I was hoping they'd reconsider and be my friend, but they have not. I think I'm just too high up here in the mountains. But in the last week or so, these 3 vultures have decided that my yard and my trees were also their yard and trees, and I'm so fucking happy that they've already started pooping on my deck, so we are going to have to discuss some boundaries. That's not going to work for me. But I'm pretty sure it's a mom and 2 mostly grown offspring, just by their behavior anyway. So, yay, that's my big announcement. I think we'll start out with the main topic here because, whoo boy, I had thought that I might start out talking about this post I had made yesterday about back in the day when I'd go to concerts, and there were a few that I had no business walking away from with my life intact. And I asked for input from the folks rating, and holy shit, there's a lot. There's a lot in those comments. Sounds like most of us should be in prison or maybe in the morgue, or at least we're all likely candidates for a liver transplant in the future because, Jesus Christ, the things we do to ourselves when we're younger and immortal. I'm so boring these days, and I love it, but in my 20s, 30s, oof, I should not be alive. So I'm going to save that for another time because, again, there was like 100 different people with really great stories. So instead, today we're going to talk about this thing that I posted on Monday. And it's one that I've shared before. It's just a screen cap of a sentence that really shouldn't be that controversial. It says, teach your daughters that sex is for them to enjoy, that sex is not something done to them, that they deserve to get pleasure, and that virginity is a myth and a social construct. And the first several responses were some variation of fucking yes, yes, please, thank you. This is stuff I wish I had known years ago. Because my God, the shit that we're taught, and maybe not directly taught, which is part of the fucking problem, but the stuff that's just programmed in, so many young women were done a disservice, either being given shit information or no information before they had headed into the world of sex. And I'm glad that people are communicating a little bit better these days. Not everyone, for sure. And hell, I wasn't even as good as I really wish I had been with my kids, but I did try to keep an open dialogue with my kids and answer questions in a way that left 0 shame on the table. Like, I'd rather they knew that I supported them and that I would be here to make sure they stayed safe. Think you're ready to have sex? Let's make sure that birth control happens, please. And it was tricky because I did have my daughter quite young. And so there's that little tap dance you have to do where you need your daughter to know that, no, I don't regret having you. You were not a mistake on any level. But still, hey, maybe don't get pregnant as young as I did, pretty please. I think that's pretty reasonable. But hoo boy, there were some people real mad about that post. And I added to the caption something I think that is really fucking important. Start early before your kids hear otherwise at school or online. This isn't grooming children. This is vital fucking knowledge. I mean, first of all, you've got the people who are in the this isn't my lived experience, so you're wrong camp. That's always exciting. That's half the problem with social media. People will see a meme or something as simple as a fucking meme, a screen cap of someone's old tweet, maybe with 1 or 2 full sentences at most. But if that meme isn't catered to them personally, you have offended them and their entire lineage. And like in this case, if that meme doesn't contain literally every other thing that you should also teach your kids, whether it be about sex or relationships or car repair, how dare you? Lord, get a grip. This is why we can't have nice things, Carol. I am the last person to say, oh, everyone's so offended these days, because honestly, shut the fuck up, Billy. No, stop that. But if you find yourself thinking that on the regular, the problem might just be you. But people do seem to bend over backwards to hurt their own feelings. I don't think that's new. We just see it in real time a lot more because of the magic of the internet. And that's because mostly people just don't take the time to read the whole thing, or they apply a meaning that was never even there in the first place, and then they get mad about it. The people adding, hey, yes, and yes, this is also important in a constructive way. I love that. Yes, please bring more to the table. I love this. This is why I love doing this, because people will get to talking and they'll put things that weren't in the meme or something that you might have not have thought about because it wasn't, from your personal experience. It's a great form of crowdsourcing, and I love that. I love that people are chiming in with things like enthusiastic consent and birth control, especially in an increasingly Christo-fascist post-Roe v. Wade world. Yes, please add those 2 cents. And I love the couple of folks who brought in to the conversation that it's okay to not be sexually driven on any level. Not that no people shouldn't have sex and that it's sinful, but some folks simply aren't built or wired in a way that sex is going to be on the table for them, like ever. It's not a priority. It's not a pull. And that's completely legitimate. But then you have all the other noise. So much noisy, icky bullshit from folks who want to perpetuate the myth that women are forever changed and their inherent value is somehow lowered after being penetrated by a dick. It's so weird to me. Or that women who seek pleasure are filthy. Fine for men, totally fine, but women who want to get off? Wow, what are you, the whore of Babylon? I actually love when people toss out the old-timey shit like whore of Babylon, because you know that they think they're really saying something, but they haven't actually read the book of Revelations and the weird-ass origin story of the whore of Babylon, but that's neither here nor there. You can't even fucking talk to most people like this, and they really don't like when you correct them about the Bible, mostly because they've never armed themselves with the knowledge, but whatever. And the saddest ick input was from women, because it's always sad and it's always a little extra disappointing when the misogyny is coming from inside the house. And it's sad as fuck because first and foremost, these women were programmed to think this way. No one comes up with this shit on their own, right? Little girls aren't born just knowing that their point of view is lesser and that boys get to enjoy sex, but they should submit and not expect an orgasm, that they are damaged goods if the little boy next door someday touches them in a sexual way. Someone beat that into their head, that they were lesser and that they don't deserve pleasure, that they are an object and that they are lower value if we allow men to do these things to us. Because we allowed it, no matter what the circumstances are. No harm, no foul for a man who does the stuff and the things, and, boys will be boys. So, yeah, it's kind of fucked that their environment, either home or out in the wild, cemented this kind of nonsense into their head, because, damn, what a shame. And it's also extra sad and disappointing because these women are also doing their part to damage other women, damage little girls, and make them believe this same shit. It's fucked, and it's by design. Men want us to believe this shit, and that bullshit is helped along by the little foot soldiers who happen to be women. Fuck. This one lady commented with sex is primarily for creating children. I don't think telling my 10-year-old daughter that sex is for pleasure and that she deserves to feel pleasure would be beneficial. I don't want her exploring sex. Okay. And then she goes on to say how we need more women with lower bodies, whatever the fuck that means, and that we don't need more women seeking pleasure and being selfish. And then she ends with this big mic drop. Just a thought. Yeah, it's just a thought, all right. I mean, first off, I'm very sad for her that she feels that sex is primarily for creating children. An entire army of women and men are going to have to disagree with you there, babe. And the very reason I stated start early before your kid hears otherwise at school or online is because unless you keep them in a tiny little box that you tuck away in the closet every evening, they're going to be educated sexually. They just are. With bullshit, likely. They're absolutely going to hear things. They are going to see things. They are going to watch things. They are absolutely going to start being influenced by other outside influences. So you really need to get ahead of that. Now, I'm not telling fucking Amanda or whatever her name was that she needs to graphically lay out the whole sex and orgasm and lube and oral to all that stuff. She doesn't need to sit there and give her 10-year-old an instruction manual. But I'm telling you what, the folks who think their 10-year-olds aren't already hearing shit and really fucked up shit, you are deluding yourselves. My granddaughter is 10 years old, and she's already had some creepy little fucker sexually harassing her at school. He describes his sex dreams about her, and he's told her he wants to put a baby inside her. Yes, the school has intervened, but this is an action that has already happened. This isn't something she's going to unhear. This is my same granddaughter. I have one that you may have heard that she was at school and the same kid called her a bitch. And so she wheeled around and kicked him right in his tiny little undescended balls. She's being raised right. She's got a strong mother and a coven of very different grandmothers to draw from. She's going to be fine. But kids hear this shit outside the home, and they always have, and they always fucking will, and it's not new. Wanting your kid not to hear about sex until they're older, I mean, cool, but outside a very isolated bubble, it's just not realistic. So why not arm them with age-appropriate information that makes sense? Get ahead of the fucking nonsense. I mean, I'm a Gen Xer. I first heard about sex when I was 8, and my friend's big sister told me how babies were made, sort of. And I was so clueless about my body, and I was still like, I couldn't understand where the baby was going to come out of, where I pee. I mean, what? That didn't sound right. I had no idea there was a third hole down there. I don't remember when I did find out, but my God, that was a relief because a baby coming out of your pee hole sounded pretty fucking weird. Wait, no, I do remember where I found out. It was like a couple years later when I was snooping around in the spare room in like the 5th or 6th grade. And I found this book in an old dresser where my mom just kind of kept random shit. And it was a book called Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex, But Were Afraid to Ask. It was originally published in 1969, and apparently it's been updated since then, which is good because I do seem to remember in hindsight some real fucked up stuff in there. But what I also remember is there was a diagram of female genitalia, and lo and behold, there was that third mystery hole. I mean, it still didn't look like it was going to be fun to push a baby out of it, but it was there. And that book also told me about another body part that I had zero idea existed yet, and which was the clitoris, or the clitoris, depending on where you come from. Let's just call it the clit. I had no idea I had a clit. None. And once I did, I was very happy I knew it was there. And I have since remained very happy about that fact. So yeah, I did learn well before I even had sex with anyone that pleasure was pretty cool. But I didn't have it reinforced in my head that I should be walking away from sex with somebody else also with an orgasm. Like, it made sense that should happen, but it didn't occur to me. It wasn't talked about. Like, I didn't feel like I shouldn't have one. But I don't think I was prepared for the fact that so many people of all genders have it in their head that the sex act is done once the man ejaculates. And that's because it's just not talked about. You know, there's so much discomfort around speaking about sex. Like, even guys who aren't the literal worst still aren't always the best at making sure their partner is equally satisfied by the end of whatever version of sex they choose to have. So yeah, it's definitely a great idea to teach girls that, hey, sex involves both of you. You don't need to be passive. You don't need to feel like something's being done to you. And you should have a mutually enjoyable experience. It's not just for him. Make sure you get yours. There are so many roads we could go down with just this, right? Like, it's shocking how many people don't understand that for a great many people, just the act of some dude thrusting away isn't the end all be all. Like, we're all built different, so I'm not going to sit here and say this is what you need to get off every time. But it'd be cool if it was something that we all cared about when it came to getting naked and messing with each other's bodies. My God, I can think of at least a half a dozen times where we'll be getting down to it, and a guy will correct me when I've given him some guidance when he wasn't quite hitting the mark. I have literally had people say, no, I know what I'm doing. Oh, wow. Do you? Wow, I feel silly. It's just that you're nowhere near my clit. But yes, please carry on. Sorry to interrupt. Or, no, I know girls like that. Oh, shit, dude. Again, I feel real fucking dumb right now. This is why I liked people coming into the comment thread with, I don't have daughters, but I'm definitely telling my boys what's up. Thank you, parents of boys who send them out into the world armed with something more than just their random erections. You are the real MVPs. I still remember the day, actually back in the days of slutting it up. And I say that in the most sex positive way, as my slutting it up days were a lot of fucking fun. But I did have a lot of, while overall fun sex, it didn't always end up with me coming because, again, there are so many guys who think that as long as they came, yeah, we're done, right? Okay. But I also remember when I decided no more blowjobs, at least not at first. I woke up one day and decided that if I got a whiff of a selfish partner, whether it be some casual whatever, I'm flipping the script, man. You get me off and then we'll talk. And I was met with some real confused looks by a few of them. Not all of them, but it was like, what do you mean? No, I just like a blowjob. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you do, but I'm not going to go down on you and then be done. I get mine too. It was such a mind blower for some of these guys. Sorry, motherfucker, I get mine as well, or no one does. Don't get me wrong. I was with plenty of guys who absolutely made sure my needs were met. There were no repeats, but the dudes who sucked in that arena, because no thanks, I don't do charity work. It's not fun. Why fucking do it? But there were a few that were absolutely mystified that I prioritized my pleasure. I even had a couple people tell me that wasn't fair. It wasn't fair that I wasn't going to give them a blowjob, but it wasn't fair that I wanted to orgasm before we did anything else, because I knew they were going to. Fair? Really, dude? Okay. I guess your mama should have taught you a little bit about that as well. It really is a beautiful thing, though, when women are somehow able to transcend the shit that they were told as kids by adults that they should have been able to trust. Getting no information is one thing. Getting bad information, like a woman named Jenny, whose father told her that sex was for getting what she wanted out of men. He literally told her that. She posted, he literally told 14-year-old me that I was sitting on a gold mine. Gross. I mean, we obviously see how dad sees women. That's fantastic. And so many girls are told that they can't use tampons, because that will ruin them somehow. That only women who have already had sex can use a tampon. Again, there are men out there that think that women feel pleasure by using tampons, but this shit also is perpetuated by some women. So again, it's a problem. And just in the comment section from people saying, yes, great, this is wonderful, let's teach our girls that they deserve pleasure. There's some really angry men in the comments. I mean, we had some schmo named Kyle. His profile says he's single, ladies, and that he lives with his mom somewhere near Spokane, so go get him. Anyway, he jumps in with, imagine wanting to teach your child irresponsibility. And I'm like, is it irresponsible to have an orgasm, Kyle? Kyle did not like this. Another dude threw in some hot take about single moms, and I'm not sure that he has any idea that women don't have to actually feel pleasure or orgasm to get pregnant, but whatever. And then there's some just real wild shit. Like while I was writing this up yesterday, some dumb old fuck comes up and goes, Lisa Lee Curtis spoken like a true slut. I mean, come on. Again, the days where the word slut could hurt me ended while Reagan was still a president. So it's been a minute. Circling back around to the meme, though, it's not even suggesting promiscuity, which again, whatever, who cares if it is, go on and get yours. It's simply suggesting that we let our girls know that sex is supposed to be something enjoyable, not a thing that happens to them. And that the whole notion of virginity is so fucked because, yes, while it can be used to talk about boys and girls and men, all the stuff, when the word is used against boys and men, it's to mock them for not fitting some sexual stereotype. And we use it to place value or take away value with girls. And it's absolute bullshit. It's outdated dumb fuckery, and I won't pretend that it's not, nor will I entertain anyone's delusion that it matters. Consent matters. Caution matters. Enjoying your goddamn self during the act of sex, something that can be physically and emotionally beautiful and amazing, that matters. Not what Kyle from Spokane thinks. Okay, so we are going to end this episode with a letter to Dear VDM, and it is extremely topical, timely, all that kind of good stuff, so we'll just dig right in. Dear VDM, this was going to be a whole manifesto of my sexual annoyance, but I decided I'm going to shorten up and get to the point. My husband, let's just call him Joe, he's a great guy on so many levels, but he's not very sexually driven. The problem is that I very much am, always have been. I can't force the issue with him. He says he's sexually attracted to me, but actions speak louder than words, and I'm frustrated. I've decided that since every other aspect of our relationship is fucking great, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. Literally. I've bought some sex toys, a few different kinds, so I can decide which ones I like and which ones I don't. It's been a while, so I'm kind of relearning. Joe found out about this, not that I was hiding it from him, but I went out and did it solo since he never showed any interest in going with me. And now he seems maybe a little threatened by the toys. I don't know. He got pouty when I brought the last one home and he saw it on my nightstand before it was put away. Like, he wouldn't even talk to me much for the rest of the day. He seemed to get over it, but it was a little childish in my opinion. He thinks it's weird that I want to enjoy them solo and is almost implying that it's wrong and that he should be involved if it's a sex thing since we're married. Which, hello, I'd love for him to be involved. That's the whole part of the problem there. When I've tried to involve him, he isn't in the mood for that either. So I'm doing it solo. I'm not done being a sexual being, thanks. I know the answer here already. But this isn't like I'm cheating on him, is it? I know it's not, but I almost get the impression that he feels that way. Anyway, I guess I'm just looking for some reinforcement. I think I remember you wrote a story a while back about a guy you dated who was threatened by your sex toys, so I feel like maybe you can relate to this weirdness. I love what you do here, and thanks in advance. Signed, Our Friends Electric. I know you're a Gary Newman fan. Okay, first of all, Our Friends Electric, yes, I love Gary Newman, and I will be listening to that album later this day because of you. So first of all, damn, I'm sorry. It is such a bummer when people aren't on the same wavelength sexually. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean the whole relationship is fucked, but compromises have to be made, and it's usually for the person who wants the sex and doesn't get the sex, because forcing someone to want sex, it just doesn't work like that, to force desire, and you don't want to force somebody who isn't into it. And yeah, it's great that they find you sexually attractive. That's wonderful, and it's great that they tell you that, but just hearing it isn't enough. Words are great, but they're not going to get you off, which you clearly desire and need in your life. I love that you've quite literally taken matters into your own hands. Yes, buy all the toys. Find out what works. Find out what absolutely doesn't work. And having a variety of options is also rad because, hi, it doesn't need to be the same every time. Your husband needs to respect this. It's not like you're out banging the naval fleet when they come to town. You're handling a physical and emotional need in your home with yourself without burdening him. I know it gets real fucking old when you feel like you're begging for affection, so this is a better option. And yes, I dated a guy for a brief moment who was absolutely threatened by any toy that was bigger than his penis, which were most toys. That's not his fault. Whatever it is, what it is. And he even asked for the one toy that he bought me. He asked for it back when we split, and I told him to go fuck himself because what the fuck? He could fuck himself, but not with my toy. I hope your new quote-unquote electric friends can fill the gap, literally and figuratively, that's in your otherwise lovely marriage to an otherwise lovely guy. Maybe he'll get on board and want to join you when you play with your new toys. A lot of couples do that. especially if there's sexual performance issues due to an injury or illness, or just garden variety erectile dysfunction. And it has brought those couples closer together. The few that I know that have this going on, because they found a way to connect. They found a way they can still enjoy sex together. Whatever the case, don't even remotely let him guilt you into kicking out your new friends. You deserve a fucking orgasm every goddamn day if you want to. And I think you're on the right track. Good luck. Love, VDM. Okay, that has been episode 5 of Vagina Devil Magic, a podcast by me, Lisa Lee Curtis. As always, if you have any input, you can put them in the comment section. You can email me directly. If you want to keep anything anonymous that you share, please tell me that. Would love to hear from you. I've been really enjoying this so far. So see you next week.